should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to go sometime.
I never said I was frightened of dying.
Welcome Bitcoin friends, it's Bitcoin Mamo. Today we're going to look at the Bitcoin charts, do some TA, we'll look at various time frames and catch up on all the Bitcoin price action over the last couple of months. And it has been a couple of months since my last video, just to give a bit of an explanation as to why I haven't been making videos. Basically, I've been a full-time carer for my mum who had a terminal illness over the last 3 years. And just recently, in the last 2 months, things did progressively get worse. And we had to move her from home to a more high care home. And just after Christmas, she did end up passing away. So I did take a break from making videos. And I thought my subscribers deserved a bit of an explanation there. But I am back now and I will start making regular videos again. So there is a lot to talk about and catch up on here. So let's get into the charts. So we're going to start here on the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, and over the next few charts we're going to look at signs that the next bull run is starting. So over the month of January we have seen this nice move to the upside from about 16.5k to 23k, and I've just got pulled up the Stochastic RSI and also Market Cipher. So I've drawn in this white rectangular box here. This basically marks out the range below the 20 level on the Stochastic RSI. And what we notice is when we do close below that 20 level with both the blue and the yellow lines here, it does give confirmation that we are in a bear market. And once we do close it back above that 20 level, it does indicate the start of the next bull run. And we saw that with both of the two previous cycles. I've just got that marked out with the red and the green lines here. So looking at our current cycle, we did break below the 20 level on this candle, confirm that we were in a bear market. And with this recent move to the upside, we can see an uptick here on the Stochastic RSI. And if we are able to get back above this 20 level with both the blue and the yellow lines, that would confirm to me that we're starting the next bull run. And we do open that the next candle on Wednesday, so it will be interesting to see how the Stochastic RSI opens. We also have a Market Cipher here on the monthly, and what we notice is we do have a green dot on the current candle, and again on Wednesday this green dot will be confirmed. Looking back at the previous bear market, we got that green dot on this candle. The following month it was confirmed. We also broke above that 20 level on the Stochastic RSI, and with both of those together indicated that the next bull run had started. With the 2014-15 bear market here, we did get a green dot on this candle. We did have that one more throwback, and then with the following green dot and also breaking above that 20 level on the Stochastic RSI, together that indicated that the next bull run had started. So we have got that green dot, looks like it will be confirmed, and now we need to close back above the 20 level to give that confirmation of the next bull run. And going down to the 2-week time frame for Bitcoin now, and looking at the RSI, we can see we do have this green zone here above the 47 level, and a red zone below the 46 level, and this white rectangle with the space in between. And what we notice on the 2-week chart is once we enter the red zone here on the RSI, we generally have one more big capitulation, and then we spend time at the bottom of the bear market. Once we break back into the green zone, it confirms that the next bull run has started. We saw that on the previous bear market. We had one more final capitulation. Once we closed back in that green zone, the next bull run started. And just looking at our current bear market, what's interesting here is with the previous 2-week candle, we did actually close in that green zone. And we did spend 266 days in the red zone here. Looking at the previous bear market, it was 147 days, and the one before that was 392 days. So somewhere in between both of the two previous bear markets. We do need to be a bit cautious with this move, even though we did close into the green zone. We only just closed inside it. Looking at the 2014-15 bear market, we did get this rally here. We came into the white zone here, and then we did have that one more throwback. And then once we closed in that green zone, we did start the next bull run. So we could still be doing something similar to this run up, where we do get one more throwback before starting that next bull run. And interesting to note, we do have this downward trend line on the log scale, just connecting the overall highs here. We can see we broke above it, and on the throwback, we tested this trend line. We closed back above it, acted as support, and then we started the bull run. Looking at our current cycle here, we have that same downward sloping trend line connecting the highs, and the previous 2-week candle here did close above that trend line. So perhaps we do a similar thing and get a throwback to test that trend line before starting the next bull run. We'll have to see how that plays out. We do actually have a Bitcoin CME futures gap at 20K. So perhaps we get a throwback to the trend line here and also fill that futures gap. And I think that would be a really good trade for a long-term long position in the next bull run. Do have an order block here with this blue rectangle. These order blocks are areas of supply and demand. They come from a green candle in a downtrend or a red candle in an uptrend. It's a break in the trend. Time was spent here and therefore volume, and these order blocks can act as support or resistance levels when we later interact with them. So we did close above that order block. Perhaps we get a throwback to fill that CME gap, test this trend line, and also look for support on this order block. The bottom of this order block's at 19.6K. And then if we do come back up and close above the order block, that would confirm it acted as support along with that trend line, and I would expect us to move higher. And going down to the weekly time frame now, we're back on the linear scale. We can see we had this macro falling wedge pattern. We did break out of it. And just zooming into the more immediate price action here over the last 6 months, we can see we were in this downward channel here. We had 2 touches on the top, 2 touches on the bottom, and on the third touch, we broke to the upside. And if we look at the measured move from this breakout, we take the width of the channel here, put it at the breakout point, and we see that measured move has been reached at 23.9K. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a pullback here, but anything can happen. We could push a bit higher before seeing that pullback, and some of it will depend on the Fed's announcement of the interest rates. It is expected to be a 0.25% increase. But if we do see a 0.5% increase, perhaps we see a pullback in the stock market and also Bitcoin. And that announcement comes at the start of next month. Just pulling up the VPVR, the amount of volume traded at certain price levels. We do see we do have a lot of support down below here, ranging from about 19K to 21.5K. And again, that CME gap is at 20K. So if we did get a pullback, I do think we will get support around that 19-20K area. We can also take a look at the weekly EMA ribbon. This is a collection of moving averages. What we can see is we have entered into this ribbon. We haven't quite reached the top of it. The top of the ribbon's at 25.6K. And if we do look back at the previous cycles here, what we can see is in 2018, we did enter into this EMA ribbon. This was the bottom of that bear market. We did get resistance from the top here for several candles. Once we closed above the ribbon and then it flipped, it confirmed the start of the next bull run. Going back to the 2014-15 bear market, what we see is we did come into the weekly EMA ribbon here. We came to the top of it, got resistance, got pushed back down, had that one more throwback we were talking about. And then once we did eventually break back above the ribbon and it flipped, it started the next bull run. So we could be in a similar position here. We'll have to see what happens if we do come up to the top of this ribbon. If we do close above it, that would be a good sign for the bulls and continuation. And again, we would need to see this ribbon eventually flip to help confirm the next bull run starting. But if we do get rejected like we did in that 2014-15 bear market, perhaps we come back down, fill that CME gap at 20K, before making another attempt at breaking this ribbon. Another thing we can watch here is the 50-week moving average on the weekly in yellow and the 200-week moving average in red. We are seeing these moving averages get quite close together here. If they did cross, that would be a death cross on the weekly time frame, which we haven't seen on Bitcoin before. I'm not personally worried about this. We can see looking back at the 2014-15 bear market, these lines did get quite close together. They didn't actually cross, but the bottom was already in before that. We can see on this rally here, we did get rejected off the 50-week moving average. We had that final throwback we talked about. Once we did close above that 50-week moving average, it started the next bull run. So looking at our current price action, that 50-week moving average is currently at 25.3K. So again, like that weekly EMA ribbon, which is a little bit higher, if we do get resistance off that 50-week moving average, perhaps we come back down and then we look to fill that gap at 20K before eventually breaking that 50-week moving average later on. So a few things to look out for there to help us confirm whether we're going to get a pullback or continuation. And interesting to note, if we also chuck on the 50-week exponential moving average and the 200-week EMA, we can see they're all pretty much at the same point, between about 25.3K and 24.8K. So this basically means that the average price of Bitcoin over the last 50 weeks, which is approximately a year, is equal to the average price of Bitcoin over the last 4 years. And this is looking like a key area. Quite often when these moving averages come together like this, they do act as a magnet and price is drawn to them. We'll have to see how this plays out if we do get one more push, perhaps into these moving averages and the top of that weekly EMA ribbon, and then look to see if we do close above them or if we do get rejected. One more thing to note on the weekly time frame here is if we look at the RSI, we can see that we have made higher highs on the RSI here, while making lower highs on the price action. So there is some hidden bearish divergence between those 2 points. And if we do look back again at the 2014-15 bear market, we also see a very similar thing. We did make higher highs on the RSI while making lower highs on the price action. So that was also hidden bearish divergence, and we did have a throwback from that. And where did we pull back to? If we also look at the RSI, we can see we have a trend line between these points, and we did throw back to that trend line, acted as support, and then we started the bull run. So back to our current cycle, I've got a similar trend line drawn on the RSI, just connecting these 3 points. And if we do get that rejection of the 50-week moving average and the top of that weekly EMA ribbon, I'll be looking for us to come back to this trend line. And again, I think that would be a really good longing opportunity as we start the next bull run. So let's look at that Bitcoin futures gap now. We're on the daily time frame. This is on the linear scale now. And just zooming into the price action, what we can see is we did form this gap here on this rally to the upside, which never got filled. And this gap is between 20,000 and 20,500. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a pullback, whether it's here or slightly higher off that 50-week moving average, and we do come down and fill this gap. We do also have a futures gap higher up here. That's between 27.4K and 28.7K. And again, anything could happen. We could fill this gap first and then get a big throwback. We'll have to see how it does play out. And going down to the daily time frame now for Bitcoin, and just zooming into the last 6 months, we were in that downward channel we spoke about in orange. We broke out and reached the measured move, and we are possibly forming another channel here in white if this was the top before a pullback. And if we do connect these tops, we do see the bottoms also do line up quite nicely here. We did go slightly below, but did eventually act as support. And we also see the midline here where we did bounce off on this pullback, but we would need another touch on the opposite side to confirm this channel pattern, but it's just an idea for the time being. And if we were to get a pullback here, looking at the fibs from the low to the high, the golden pocket would be at 18.7K approximately, and this would line up with the bottom of this channel on the 11th of March. But just an idea, we'll need time for this to play out. We have to be able to confirm a pullback here first. And if we were to look at the 4-hour time frame at just this price action at the top here, which is this area, we are on the 4-hour time frame now. What we can see is we are also in a channel, and we can see we have had several touches on the top, several touches on the bottom, alternating touches. And we are getting close to the bottom of this channel, which is currently at around 23K. If we do break this channel, the measured move, again, the width of this channel would take us down to around 21.7K. And this could possibly confirm that we are going to start a pullback. And again, we can look for that CME gap at 20K and possibly even all the way down to this golden pocket area at 18.8K. We'll have to see how it plays out over the coming weeks here, and also see what the Fed's decision is on the interest rates and how it affects the stock market and Bitcoin. And one more chart now. We have been looking at this chart for a while. This compares the 2014-15 bear market with our current cycle here. We did notice we had similar falling wedge patterns. And if we did line up these dead cat bounces, we did see a similar pattern forming here. And we did break out of the falling wedge pattern at around a similar time when comparing these this way. And we were expecting a run up like this to happen in December, but it did take a bit longer to recover from that FTX collapse. And we eventually got that run up in January. So these are still quite similar. This is on the 4-day time frame. And we were looking at market cipher also, looking at the money flow shown here. And we noticed when we enter the red money flow, it does start the bear market. And we stay in the red money flow during the entire bear market. Once we flip into the green money flow, we start the next bull run. And we can see we did get quite close here to coming into the green money flow. We entered the red money flow right at the peak here at 69K. And we were looking for that flip into the green money flow to confirm the start of the next bull run. So we could possibly have another pullback here, as we mentioned, looking for those targets, and then come back up and flip into that green money flow. And that would also confirm the start of the next bull run for me. So I think that's about all for today. I hope you enjoyed that analysis. Again, there's lots of things to look for here to confirm the start of the next bull run, and we will follow that up. I will have more regular videos. There is a lot to catch up on, and in the short term, on the 4-hour time frame, we can watch for a break of this channel, which may initiate the downtrend here. So thanks for watching. I'm Bitcoin Mamo. I'll see you next time. Bye.